I'd like to welcome you all back to the Conscious Mind. Here we are one more time getting ready to get in. You know, the last time I hit y'all with that Who He Be piece from the spoken word side of things. You know what I'm saying? I said I want to mix it up a little bit. And the topic I wanted to come with now was, you know, it's close to my heart because of the fact that, one, it's happening. Two, the approach to it is causing more chaos because the approach is sort of like, you know what I mean, like a setup for failure. You know what I'm saying? So that needs to get addressed so we can do something a little bit different about that. Well, even more so, man, is that, you know, all of us, we friends on here, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we all see each other's posts and what everybody's sharing, what we're talking about and whatnot. And some of it's just chit-chat, but a lot of it, you know, we all throwing some real aspects of what's going on in our lives out there. And I've been seeing a lot of people, you know, we dealing with, you know, loss of life, you know, violence. It's really getting so systemic that, you know, you never know where it can happen at. Like, it's going to happen someplace where we won't expect it to happen. And now we expect it to happen in those places because of the fact that it's just been getting so widespread. And, you know, we see things like, you know, this here sign right here that I got right here, you know, enough is enough, stop the violence. And the thing about this is that a lot of us, we don't even get involved with stopping this violence because of the fact that, I don't know, it's not on our mind. Like, we're not thinking about what can we do to help this out. Most of us like, well, I'm moving away from this area or don't hang around or associate with those people. But those people that still do those things end up becoming the victims of some type of violence because violence is crazy. And we keep trying to say enough is enough. We got to stop the violence. So the thing about this is what's causing violence. See, this is what I'm going to share with you. You know, a lot of times the approaches to violence, you know, is the issue of why violence really doesn't get healed in our communities because, you know, the thinkers who are out there doing all their think tanks and controlling the work environment that addresses the issues that hit us socially, you know what I'm saying, who get all the funding and all the governmental support. You know, they all have like these models that they keep coming at us and telling us best practice is this and that that's been implemented for the last 5 to 7 to 10 to 15 years, and it hasn't fixed anything. It hasn't fixed anything because you can't talk about violence without talking about poverty. You can't talk about poverty without talking about the lack of some things. And in poverty, we're talking about the lack of finances. We're talking about the lack of resources. And in some places, it's the lack of education. Some places, it's the lack of understanding, the lack of whatever. Because poverty is caused from when you are lacking something, not having something. And then in that area, frustration develops. And when that frustration develops, people start thinking, how am I going to start taking care of these needs? How am I going to start taking care of these wants? How do I begin to address these things that are important to my personal life at this given time? So if the means aren't there to get that, the means to how I'm going to take that start waking up in a person's mind because the thought is I got to get that. So the violence begins to come on the board. But when we address violence now, institutionally, not meaning we, meaning me and you, unless we're working within these institutions, it's usually punitive. You know, we're going to hit them with some fines. We're going to lock them up. We're going to put them on parole. We're going to put them on probation. And then we're going to send them through this whirlwind of a whole bunch of things. But none of that addressed the issue of what they were dealing with as far as their poverty. None of that addressed the issue. And I'm going to tell you something else. Sometimes people are emotionally poor. We deal with poverty even in our emotions because the lack of how to understand and manage these emotions, how to deal with a situation in the midst of these emotions, sometimes is an area where we're lacking that causes a person to react a certain type of way that can lead to a violent episode. So if we don't stop addressing violence by locking people up, I mean, at some point, yeah, we might have to because of the fact that, you know, this joker, he's off the hook or she's off the hook because, you know, both genders is getting it in nowadays. The thing is that we have to also make sure that we're dealing with those areas of poverty. We got to deal with the job creation. We got to deal with the skill building. And I mean true skill building. I mean true job creation. Right now, you go on the internet and you can look at all kinds of job sites where they got mad jobs listed, and you'll see, say, one agency that says it has a certain position open, and that position's been open for like the last 5 months. Now people have been applying to that position, but they're just not hiring, even though they got it posted. There's a job opportunity right there, and I get them all the time, all different types of opportunities for employment at different places and things of that nature. But guess what? I apply to those places and don't hear from them. Guess what else? It's a local place, but it's through the internet now that we got to interact. You can't just walk in and give your resume and talk to the manager or whatever like that. Now you got to go over the internet and do that. So all these resources that are needed to help support people at getting on the stable ground for themselves, that really sometimes causing more obstacles than actually helping us solve our solutions and getting to what we need to get. And when it comes to violence, we got to stop addressing just this one way. Lock them up. Throw away the key. And the other thing is we got to stop thinking that we're going to let these institutions handle it all the time. I don't believe that that's the way to solve that problem, because we're the ones who get hurt in the long run. I say rest in peace to all those who have died of these horrific deaths, or even just, passed away. Rest in peace to them all. Peace to the families, to them all. Healing to us all. But healing won't take place unless we begin to start putting something in place to address these areas where we're lacking at. So we can do some type of creation of skills, some creation of jobs, some creation of managing emotions. We have to begin to put these things in place so that way we can navigate through the situations we deal with in our lives, so that we don't get stagnated by them. They may hold us up sometimes, but we don't want to get stagnated by them to the point that it's putting us under. Because most of you who are my Facebook friends on here, we come from urban environments. So when we talk about this here topic of what's going on out there, this is affecting us a lot more than it's affecting a lot of people who live on the outside of that. And if you take a look at the news, we know it's happening a lot here, but now we see it's happening a lot more out there too. These same types of issues. So the type of poverty that's going on, that's